author of the soon-to-be-released bestseller, The Russian Hoax, The Illicit Scheme to Clear Hillary Clinton and Frame Donald Trump. Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. All right, let me put Catherine's Comey story aside for a second. I have never in my life in the Manafort case heard a judge call Mueller's team liars the way he called them out today, Judge T.S. Ellis III, and then go on to say, I don't see what relation this indictment has to do with the special counsel, what they're authorized to investigate. You don't care about Manafort's bank fraud. What you really care about is what information Paul Manafort could give you that would reflect on Mr. Trump or lead to his prosecution or impeachment. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, look, Mueller's investigation is rife with deceptions, dishonesty, and underhanded tactics, and this judge, for one, is not buying it, and he warned them. Don't you suborn perjury to implicate the president. That's what he meant by, I know what you're doing. You're trying to make Manafort sing, and singing can turn into composing. That is the threats by government to get people to say things that are untrue in order to go light on them. We're not going to tolerate that. That's what the judge said. But the most important thing he said today is, where do you get the authority to charge Paul Manafort? Your authority comes from the order Trump-Russia collusion investigation and, quote, any matters that arise from that investigation. The Manafort case doesn't arise from that investigation. Mueller went into the archives at the Department of Justice Tax Division and appropriated an old case against Manafort that had been cleared, and he's been using that.
13 years. And the timing is unbelievable because, remember, Sara, it was July 26th, the morning raid, guns drawn in Paul Manafort's home, when all they had to do was call his attorney, and he would have surrendered. But beyond that, that was July 26th. And then it wasn't until August 2nd when the approval came. But that means the special counsel had to have been investigating months before, beyond the mandate. Then they have the raid. Then they get the mandate permission for the raid and for the investigation.
Judge Ellis is not going to be bullied, and he made it very clear in court today, and that's why he said, I want that memo redacted. The one that you've given to me, I want it unredacted, is what I meant to say. He wants it unredacted. He wants it right before him. He wants to see everything that's in it. He wants to know the scope of what Rosenstein gave authority to Mueller, and he wants it now. And when they said, well, this has nothing to do with anything beyond the Manafort case, and he said, I'll be the judge. I'll be the judge of that. So he wants to see that. I think this is important because it also means that Judge Sullivan, who's overseeing Flynn's case, has the same kind of issues, right? This is Judge Sullivan played it out a little differently. He made himself very clear, and now we've seen it's been suspended for 2 more months. So Judge Sullivan is probably going through the same thing right now. And, you know, it's so refreshing, Sean, and Greg was right on the money. He understands the legalese behind this, but he's right on the money that they're starting to understand that this is appearing, and what we've been saying for all along is a witch hunt. It's going way beyond the scope of Russia, and they're doing everything they can to try to rein people in, twist their arms, and try to get them to turn on people, even if there isn't evidence.
This page 53, 54, the more unredacted version, and there's so much more that needs to be unredacted here, about Comey. Brett Baer caught him in a bold-faced lie.
Absolutely.
They never saw it. He said, oh, that's not true. But he had said that there was no indication that General Flynn was lying. So then that raises the question, did they squeeze Flynn, threaten to go after his kid or his family?
Oh, they did. They never had a case against Flynn, but Mueller is godlike and knows better and decided to bring one, even though the agents who interviewed Flynn said he was telling the truth. And Comey is out there lying, not just to Brett Baer, but on Meet the Press last Sunday, he said the same thing. He denied that those agents had ever concluded that Flynn was telling the truth. So was Comey lying under oath in front of the Intelligence Committee, or lying last Sunday and in front of Brett Baer to the American public? It's one or the other. It can't be both.
And Sara, nobody's reporting. The Judge Tillis today very sarcastically brings up Rod Rosenstein. Oh, isn't he recused? Now, Rod Rosenstein, he's a witness. He wanted Comey fired, so he's a witness in the case. Then we know Rod Rosenstein signed off on the FISA issue, and now we've got Rod Rosenstein here. It seems to me he's in trouble, and that he needs to go next.
Well, he's in huge trouble, and he absolutely needs to go next if you talk to anybody with any common sense. I mean,
because he's backdating permission to raid Manafort's home.
Exactly.
That was not part of the mandate.
Well, he's backdating permission, and I think we have a little bit more news in all of these developments. If you look at the report and what was unredacted, the unredacted version on page 53 and 54, you'll also see that McCabe, it appears, was trying to put pressure on these FBI agents. And remember, I've been reporting that all along. You know, when they came back and they said Flynn did not lie, we don't believe we detected any deception, he wasn't lying, there was a lot of reports that I was receiving that McCabe was putting pressure on them. And I'm wondering how much of this is actually going to come out in the Inspector General's report, Michael Horowitz's report, which we expect to see within the next few weeks or so. So this is going to be very important. It's going to play right into this investigation. And hopefully, I think this is a really great question that Judge Ellis posed. Who's in charge of overseeing Rosenstein and Mueller? Well, it's going to be these judges. These judges are going to lay down the law, and they're not going to let, hopefully let this special counsel exceed any of their privileges beyond the Russia scope.
All right. Unbelievable. We have a lot more ground to cover. Thank you both for being with us. And coming up on this busy news night, Ed Henry is here with more details on the federal judge who is exposing Mueller's mission to take down President Trump. And later, we will speak to a former Trump campaign aide who literally had to sell his home to pay for legal fees to combat this